Perfect. They make
Okay,
sushi
I'm
and
gonna go
everything.
live with this one somehow.
Perfect. Perfect. It's perfect. Amazing
They
thing. I
don't
never saw.
shed.
They don't shed. He's
Good,
perfect.
good, very good.
Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh, there you go.
Yay.
Did it. Woohoo.
Oh, so they're on Facebook. Okay. I don't do
We're
Facebook.
zooming to Facebook Live. Welcome, welcome, everyone. So
Oh,
yes,
okay.
we were doing a twofer.
Okay. Now I understand.
Okay, welcome everyone to our first Taboo Talk for 2021. I'm Sophia Abdul Kawi from Muslim Sisters of Staten Island. And joining me today from NAMI is Linda and Alana, right?
Yes. Hi.
That's NAMI Staten Island for
Yes.
And I'm so delighted to have this talk today because it is so important for us to remember and to acknowledge those who are caring for others who are not able to care for themselves. But we also have to acknowledge the fact that we have to care for ourselves as well. Because as caregivers, sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves, and that can impede on the actual work that we're trying to do. So, with that being said, the Caregivers Award tonight is going to be given to 6 nominees
Oh.
from our community, and throughout the course of the night, we'll be celebrating them, and the nominees. I mean, one who nominated them may have like a minute or so to tell the audience why they nominated this person for this award. So, Linda,
Well,
will you
your
start
dad
up the program?
find
Okay.
out what else he needs and give me the phone back.
Okay, so I'm Linda Wilson. I'm the executive director of NAMI NYC Staten Island. We're part of a national organization, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We were formed in 1983, I think, or 82, the national organization. It started with a group of families who had kids with major mental illnesses, mainly schizophrenia in those days. And there was no treatment, there was nothing. And of course, who did everybody blame? The mother. So that's how NAMI was formed. There was a group of families who got together, a very small group in Wisconsin, and they said, there's something wrong with this. You know, I have other children, they're fine. What did I do to this one? You know, the doctor said, it's your fault, you were cold, you were heartless, and that kind of thing. But these were very smart people, and they knew this was not the right thing to do. So they joined, and they formed AMI, the Alliance for the Mentally Ill. And that's how NAMI grew. When we grew to be, we are now the largest self-help organization for people with mental illness. And we have grown now that we are not just families, because thank God, you know, the science and the technology, people actually do get better. Back then, they didn't. There were no medications. There was no treatment. It was just a matter of blame the mother, you know, and get her away. So that's how we started. And we came to Staten Island, NAMI Staten Island, 1986. And here we are. And what we do is we don't treat anybody. We have no clinical services. We do support, education, and advocacy for people with mental illness and their families. And when you're caring for someone, I know if you're caring with someone with a physical health defect or a mental health defect, the family is not going to get better until the caregiver can do something, and they have to be strong, and they have to want to do. And it's very difficult, you know, for anybody who's caring for somebody. So we have support groups for the caregiver, which are the families. We have support groups with people living with mental illness. But we really started to focus on the caregiver. And we believe that if a caregiver does not take care of themselves, you can't take care of anybody else. It's the old, you know, you go in the plane, the old cliche, you put your, Donna Grant, you put your oxygen mask on first. Otherwise, you can't help the baby that you're caring for. So that's who we are. And we know that caregiving is very, very important. Without the family, it just doesn't work. And that's the caregiver, the family. Without the family, the trajectory for improving is really much lower than when you have family involvement and family input. So that's who NAMI is. Okay, and I'm sorry, but I don't have my agenda here for some reason.
Thank you, Linda.
So I left it in the other room.
We're gonna wing it today.
Yes, well, that's all right.
Okay, so could you mind just introducing Alana?
Alana.
Yes.
Alana is a family member and has been a long time NAMI member. We know her for a very long time. And Alana has gone, she's a sister, a sibling, which is very different when you're caring for somebody than the mother or the father. It's very, very different. So she has her own way of dealing. You know, when you deal with a sibling, it's not the same. It's just not the same. So Alana, you want to use your last name or no?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Alana, as you introduce yourself and your credentials.
Yes, please.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm so happy to be able to be here and join you guys. And I think what you're doing is wonderful to recognize the caretaker. And you know, caretakers are just selfless and they're continuous and they give of themselves on such an ongoing basis. And you know, I'm gonna kind of just go right into the reason why I built the workshop that I'm showing you all today. You know, it's a very challenging time right now, which is such an understatement. And being the sibling of a loved one with mental illness, you know, we've gone through our fair share of challenges, and what I really recognized is that this is a time that we can all together really build our families very closely. We can come together and create a level of ongoing resilience together, but it does take awareness and it does take a framework. So what I decided to do is actually employ a specific framework, which I've studied for a number of years now, that I'm certified in, which is called positive psychology. And that's the science of human flourishing. And you know, the belief there is that we can do more than just survive with our loved ones today. We can actually thrive with our loved ones, even up against all of the adversity that we are surrounded by, all of the fears, all of the difficulties. This can still be a time that we can bounce back better than before, and we can do it in a way where it grows our families as a bonded really unit within strength. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys specifically the reason why it makes sense to have the conversation now, specifically that we're living during this very tumultuous time. And then we can go a little bit into a meditation and some other cool ways to relax really kind of quickly on demand. Does that work for everyone?
Sure.
Yeah, everyone's nodding their head. They're like, yes, let's get to the relaxation time. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so I know that I just went through the framework of positive psychology, and essentially the goal here behind the Reclaim Brain workshop is that we would be able to empower all caretakers of loved ones with mental illness to become more resilient so that they together can bounce back better than before COVID. All right, it's not letting me go to the next one. Maybe now. There's always technical difficulties if someone is here. All right. So I'm going to go through a brief agenda. So first I'm going to go into my story a little bit about being a sibling. Then we're going to talk about the effects of COVID on the caretaker for the body as well as the mind. Then we're going to go right into the solution around positive psychology. And then together we will do an in-class activity. Does this work for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go on. All right, so my story. So, as the sibling of a loved one with mental illness, I actually grew up trying to be the perfect child so that I wouldn't further burden anybody. And when I faced what felt like inescapable adversity at home, I would actually go numb. And then as an adult, I strived for this kind of unattainable perfection. I sped through my life. I was chasing achievement. I had anxiety, and my body actually tried to warn me through chest pains. And I really found that I was very much ill equipped to bounce back also from failure. And sometimes I'd be paralyzed in bed when that would happen. And what I realized was that was actually depression. So I lost years trying to really just be able to escape from the past into the future. And in doing so, I found myself for a number of years seesawing between anxiety and depression. At 40, I had a high blood pressure diagnosis, and it led me to choose what I was missing: the present moment. The present moment where my life was happening, that temporary string of precious moments that if you miss even one of them, you'll never get them back. Where my children were laughing and my husband was trying to share his life with me. So I became a positive psychology practitioner. I decided to get certified in being able to learn to rewire my brain for positivity so that my default, my way of living would be present moment living. So what happened when I did that? Something unbelievable, something really unexpected happened. I started to really appreciate my life. I started to be able to let go of the anger that I had towards my family for all of the difficulties that I faced in my childhood. I actually became grateful for my childhood because what I realized was that I was lucky. I was the well child, and I had something that no one else had. I had perspective. I became grateful for my parents because I knew that they did their very best. I actually became very compassionate towards my brother for the very difficult and challenging hand that life had dealt him. And my energy shift was also felt by my family, which I didn't expect. And eventually their energy shifted, and my brother would get really curious about what is this newfound state of wellness that I'm living in? And we started to go on these weekly walks together where we kind of walk and talk and nerd out and geek out around neuroscience. And we kind of realized that, hey, the genius that always was in him is still in there. And we kind of just try on like different positive psychology experiments together. And, it's really fascinating because during one of these times, I remember just looking into his eyes and telling him, this is your authentic self. This is the true you right now, right before me. You're not obsessed with future thinking. You're not thinking about what's happened in the past. You're right here present with me, and you're smart, funny, loving, creative, and intelligent. And that is something that is in him all the time, his authentic self. And that authentic self was my original brother. That was the brother that I played with when I was a child, that I had been looking for years. And in this moment, he said that he swore to me that he would try to do whatever he could to try to live in the present moment where he could lean into joy and connection, and he could lean into feeling love with me, with my family. And it was there that I noticed that my childhood happened for a reason. It was to share my perspective with others so that they could experience the kind of transformation that I'm bringing to you today, that I'm telling to you right now, that you don't have to live the way that we once lived to actually suffer the way that we once suffered. I want to be able to fast forward this, and I want to be able to show everyone that the illness isn't something that has to bring you down. It can be something that brings you up, that empowers you as a family, that unites you in resilience and growth together as you look at every single opportunity to be able to get stronger. And COVID is such an amazing opportunity to do this. I look around and I see now more than ever, this is so needed. I mean, we are living in a state where we're suffering from isolation. We're suffering from lockdown. We're feeling as though we don't have all of the outlets for support. Our loved ones don't have their regular schedules. We don't have our regular schedules. And what's being shown is that when you're living in this constant state of isolation and essentially what feels like I want to say culture shock as well as sensory deprivation, all being classified globally by scientists today. We know now that the brain starts to shut down. It actually starts to shrink in this kind of circumstance on an ongoing basis. And what you're seeing is a picture of that on the right. That's a picture of a brain that is no longer engaged as opposed to the brain on the left, which is stimulated, which is sensory rich. So what happens is it becomes more difficult to form thoughts. Our stress hormone, cortisol, it actually increases, making caretakers more impatient. We start to get quick to get angry, and it becomes more challenging to actually support and care for our loved ones in this manner. So it's these stress hormones that actually get the body ready to support fight or flight. It causes our heart to race. It causes our pupils to dilate. Our digestion turns off. Our mouths actually get dry. I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you're feeling really kind of stressed out, that it's hard to get a breath in. That's because our bronchi actually dilate during this time from all the stress hormones. So what actually happens is that we don't fight or fly, especially during COVID. We actually numb out instead. The problem here is that we turn to food, or we maybe turn to alcohol, or maybe some of us are turning to social media all the time, or we're turning some of us to smoking cigarettes or smoking other things. And what we do is we tell ourselves that we shouldn't be feeling these feelings, that it's wrong for us to feel these feelings, and we push down these feelings. Well, what happens when we actually ignore stress? When we ignore worry, it turns into anxiety. And when we ignore sadness, it turns into depression. And when we keep those stress chemicals in our body, it turns into chronic disease, like the high blood pressure that I got diagnosed with, like diabetes, like cardiovascular disease. So this is why we've come up with the workshop, because the body is a messenger. If we listen, it'll tell us when we're feeling negative emotion, if we would only just take a moment to actually listen. So what I'm going to show you now is what the workshop looks like on a single slide. So this is a 5-week workshop, and I'm going to kind of go through a schematic, which is the steps of what it is that you would be able to learn, so that you would be able to rewire your mind, understanding when your body is telling you that it's feeling stressed, so that instead of actually spiraling down for sometimes it can be days, it can be weeks, it can be hours, we instead can catch ourselves in real time. We can notice when our body is being a messenger, when we feel dis-ease or discomfort in our body. So I'm going to kind of, turn it back to everyone here. Does anyone have a part of their body that they actually feel stress within whenever it is that they get stressed out? Maybe you feel it in your head or your chest or your belly. Anyone?
Me?
Yeah. This is making sense to some people, right? So what happens here is that what we want to be able to do, all right, someone said my neck. Wow, that's a really interesting one. I also get it in my neck. That is very interesting. I know that I've taken on too much when my neck starts to hurt. And that can happen kind of almost immediately. So anyone else know when they feel stress in their body, they can kind of feel it right away when it's being a messenger? I had someone else tell me that their eyes get really, really dry.
I feel them.
Someone said my shoulders. So within course, yeah, and that's how someone said, oh, I love it. So I have someone telling me that I know I'm super stressed and I know I need to do something about it when that happens. Someone said my back. Someone said I feel it in my head. See, so it's really interesting because the body is built and designed to be able to be a messenger of our emotions. And like I said, if we would only learn to listen, we would be able to stop and take a moment and say, wait a second, I noticed that there is dis-ease or discomfort in my body. Now I can get really good at recognizing what that emotion is. I can ask myself, what am I actually feeling? What emotion is behind that? And then I can go one step further and I can identify what is the originating thought that comes from that emotion, because we know behind every single emotion, there's always an originating thought. So then we can go another step further and we could start to say to ourselves, and this is where we get a lot of times into trouble because we'll say, oh, because that happened, we should be stronger. We should be able to handle it. There's something wrong with us that we feel nervous or we feel shame or, we feel worry, or maybe we're thinking about something that happened a few weeks ago and it's still running around. Like we shouldn't be feeling that way. Well, what if we would be able to say that it's normal to feel that way, that we're human, that if another person felt that way, they might actually also feel that way as well, that they might actually have the same kind of reaction. If you think about the way that you might speak to your friend, if your friend told you this story, the way that you would actually calm them, the way that you would actually tell them that it's normal and it's okay, you would start to talk to yourself that way. Instead of having to push it down, you would be able to bring up that emotion. And then you can name that emotion and navigate through it. The next step would be able to say, okay, so I know I'm feeling a high level of stress right now. How dialed up am I? Am I to the point where it feels like it's more than a 6 if I rated it out of a 10? Or am I at the point where it feels like less than a 6? So the reason why I ask is because if you're feeling really dialed up emotionally, it's going to be really hard to deal with the thought rationally. You first need to calm down your emotion. And the only way to do that is to do that through the emotional part of the brain, because that's where that really dialed up emotion is being stored. And you can't speak to the emotional part of the brain using verbal. That's a non-verbal part of the brain. The only way to send a message of calm to the brain when it's that dialed up emotionally is by using the body. Psychosensory techniques like havening or tapping and EFT. You can do acupressure, you can do acupuncture, you can go for a run, a walk. Creative arts speak to the nonverbal brain. You can do knitting, painting. So when I'm done going through the schematic, I'll walk you through one, which I know you're going to love. But what happens is you send a message of calm to the brain, telling the brain that we are in a safe space, and you shift yourself into neutral, because then you're able, once you're in a neutral space, to be able to get to the rational part of the brain. And that's where you can rationally think. You can ask, is this something that can be changed? Now, it's either going to be a yes or a no. If it's going to be a yes, then you know it's something that hasn't happened yet. You're future planning. You're thinking about something that is a worry potentially for maybe, let's say, in a week. So you can do a bunch of different things if something isn't happening until next Tuesday. I'm just going to pull one of my favorite ones, which is let's pick a date and time to problem solve it. Let's pick Wednesday morning at 11:30 to be able to write down all of the reasons why I'm worried about my presentation for next Tuesday. And then I can get back to the present moment. I don't need to ruminate over this. Or if it's something that already occurred, now you know you can't change that, but what you can change is the way that you look at yourself. You can ask yourself, what do I really want to get out of this? How do I want to show up next time? You can start to find the evidence as to whether or not it's true, and you can start to manifest the kind of future that you know you want to be able to create. If you know what your strengths are and you know how you want to be next time, you can visualize that instead, so that every time your mind comes back to that originating thought, you can remember that you are empowered because you know how you want to show up. And then you can get right back to the present moment. And it's in that present moment that you can access joy, your authentic self, your creativity, your connection with others. You're able to in real time, be the watcher of your thoughts. You can choose thoughts that serve you, and you can start to see where life gets really interesting, because when you have new and different challenges coming your way, it doesn't have to be the thing that pulls you down for a number of, let's say, hours or weeks or days. You can notice it in real time, and you can use it to be the thing that pulls you up to make your better life, to make your family a better life. And that's the purpose of the workshop. Any questions?
And how does this specifically help the caregiver?
So the caregiver is going to be able to live this way. This is going to be something that if you do this on an ongoing basis, you start to go from the bottom where you first notice dis-ease or discomfort. Someone feels it in their neck, someone feels it in their shoulder. They're able to right away in real time notice what that's coming from, what emotion they're feeling, and they can immediately navigate that and get right back to the present moment. And when they're living in the present moment, that's when they're better able to work with everyone around them, specifically their loved ones. So now if we look at it from a caregiver point of view, right, this is going to be able to rewire your brain for positivity because it ends rumination. You are already empowered with a new way of being that becomes the example for your loved one. So what I'd like to be able to do is show everyone kind of one of the techniques to calm the emotional side of the brain in real time if you are feeling really dialed up. So this is something that you can do if you're having a stressful moment and you want to be able to calm down immediately to then start to access the rational part of the brain. Now,
I am so ready.
yeah, you guys ready for that? Before we get to that,
I am so ready.
anyone have any questions on this?
Actually, I do actually. We have one question. Is there, can we utilize this, to share? Can we share this map of relaxation to our audience,
Yes,
for future?
absolutely. Yes, you
Okay.
can keep this. And so this is the kind of thing that we teach this over 5 weeks. It's 1 hour every single week. And what happens is you start to be able to live this way. And when you're used to it, you go straight from noticing disease to being able to get back into the present moment in real time, which is mastery. So after a number of 5 weeks, this schematic becomes your way of life. Now, I have someone asking a question. Would you say a little bit about how to help a child calm down and stop ruminating? Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's a very good one. Yeah, we can go into that. And then after that, I can also share with you guys, like specifically what the coursework looks like from week to week, like how does that get achieved? So first and foremost, if you have a child and the child is ruminating and has a worry, right? So first off, I would ask the child, and kind of assess on your own, how emotionally charged are they right now? Because if they're really emotionally charged, we can do with the child exactly what I'm going to do with you guys to relax immediately. And then we can start to get into the rumination piece to start to rationally figure out, well, what is it that you're ruminating over? Because depending upon whether or not it's future rumination or past rumination, there's different levers we could pull. So for whoever asked that question, do you know offhand, would the child be emotionally dialed up, or is this child already calm?
Dialed up.
This child, okay, all right. So we are going to do our havening.
He's on mute.
Okay. All right. And this is something that you guys can do at any time. And it also works virtually. You can do it with a friend across the screen. So this is super, super cool. Anyone ever hear of havening before? No? Okay. All right. So havening was created about 10 years ago by the Rudin brothers. So what we have on our fingertips are called Pacinian corpuscles. Okay, and when we rub the Pacinian corpuscles on certain parts of our body, so we can all start doing this, it looks like this. It actually sends a message of calm to the emotional part of the brain. So this is one. There's a couple different ones I can show you. This is another one. So what activates in our brain is what's called stage 3 delta waves, which is found in sleep, in our deepest part of sleep. And it actually tells the brain that we are completely safe. This is another part. This is the safest that you could possibly be. And the brain starts to completely relax. You start to down-regulate the nervous system. It is absolutely impossible to be stressed out when you're doing this. Now you can also do it on your cheeks over here. I would suggest washing your hands first. I'm just going to be doing it. And what happens is the negative emotion gets attached to a memory that's stored in the emotional part of the brain. Does someone have a question? Did you have a question? No. Okay. Sorry. So the emotional part of the brain, that's,
There's actually a question. I'm sorry.
oh, sorry. Did someone have a,
No. There's someone, there was a question. Is it different for someone suffering from mental health challenges?
oh, we can do, if you have mental health challenges, you could also do havening. Absolutely. So when they're feeling stress in that very moment, what's happening is the emotional brain is looking to attach that negative emotion to that particular moment. If you're doing this, the emotional brain will not be able to attach a negative emotion to that particular moment. So this actually prevents trauma, which is really interesting. So instead, the brain gets the message, I am in a safe place. Even though I'm feeling something really stressed out right now, I don't have to remember this as being a stress. I can circumvent this, and I can then actually go a step further, and I can put in a positive affirmation around this moment. So if you have a positive affirmation around your child, like, I am strong, I am safe, I am connected. I do this one every morning, no matter what. I do it in the shower because I like to combine water with this. I am safe, I am calm, I am connected. They immediately will be in a place where the rumination does stop. Now, that's when you've calmed the emotional part of the brain. Who feels calm? Anyone feel calm? Yeah? Yeah?
I also have a question.
Yes.
Because I see the movements that you're making, and it just makes me think of children when they're upset. The first thing they want to do is like, "Oh, hug me, mommy, touch me, make me," and that what you're doing, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually comforting myself,
You
and
come,
I
yes, you can come.
yes,
I do this with my brother in the morning oftentimes will have anxiety. And he now knows when he starts getting dialed up, like that bottom of the schematic, like to literally be a very good, emotionally intelligent person, to notice when that emotion is being communicated to you through your body. The very moment you start to feel it, let's not get completely dialed up to where we can't breathe anymore. Let's catch it immediately. I'm safe. I am calm. I am connected. So what happens is instead the brain takes a positive emotion and connects it to that moment instead of a negative emotion being connected to that moment. Question.
um, how and I know there's different kids on the spectrum, and I know they have different sensory type of stimulation. Is some of these exercises that the parents can utilize to keep because they have meltdowns. We all have meltdowns, but there's specific types. And so, can we use some of these techniques with children with special needs as well?
Yes, yes. So the inventor, Dr. Rudy Rudin, actually created it for his child who's autistic. And this was the only way to calm her down when she was a teenager. This was actually when it was invented, and one of the main reasons why, which is it's so amazing to me because here we are, all stuck at home wondering how could we relax right away, and just at our fingertips we have the ability to be able to do that. And then the beauty part of this, like where it gets really cool, if we had more time and maybe at a later date we'll do this, you can actually go back to negative emotion that you've got stored in your mind. So like if you've got a memory, right, where you get triggered, something happens, that memory gets, pulled up and you feel negative emotion right away. You can actually do a meditation where you walk yourself through that memory. You can go as far back as you want. You can actually permanently de-link that negative emotion that's attached to that memory. So then the glue gets kind of loosened there within your brain. You then replace it with a positive emotion. So the next time you get triggered, that memory is just a memory. So that to me is the coolest part because here we are trying to use talk therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy to the part of the brain that is nonverbal and wondering why we're not getting anywhere. It's because it doesn't work that way when we're looking at the emotional part of the brain. We can only speak rationally to the rational part of the brain, which is the prefrontal cortex. Now, once you've been able to remove that negative emotion, now let's go to the child and talk about what are you ruminating about? What is the worry? Is it a before? Is it an after? And then let's problem solve around that because there's lots of different levers that we could pull there. So whoever had asked that, Tracy, I think you had asked that question around your child. Is the rumination negative or excuse me, is it future or past rumination?
Sometimes it's both.
Okay, at the same
But
time.
it's often, most of the time, it's Well, it's kind of balanced. It depends on the thing that triggers him. Sometimes it's past,
Right.
sometimes it's future.
Right.
The more intense tend to be future.
It's worries. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's that future planning, that worrying that does turn into anxiety on an ongoing basis, which is what I had. And what is the worry around specifically? Is it like failure?
No, it's usually around safety issues, and it started to get pretty bad during the pandemic,
Mhm.
related
Mm.
to COVID, related to the protest. He have been successful in keeping him away from the news. And then we had a conversation about the protest because he wanted to go. He's not even 7.
Oh,
His
Wow.
birthday's March
wow.
29th, and he wanted to go to the protest. And so I told him we couldn't go because of COVID. And then the protest persisted. And then a friend contacted us to tell us that they had arranged like a kitty protest in the neighborhood, like on one block for
Mm.
children and families. And he wanted to know what happened to Breonna Taylor.
Wow. That's hard. That's hard. Yeah.
Yes, you may. And so we had a conversation about that. Would you close that door, sweetheart? And so then and that's when it really kicked in, because like the whole idea of the police, the people who are supposed to protect and serve and keep you safe, can come into your house and kill you in your bed, um, was really traumatizing for him.
Yeah. No, that can be. I can't even imagine how traumatizing that might be, and to have that kind of a worry. And that's why it's so concerning that we even live in this kind of climate, and to be able to have these, these conversations around it. It kills me. But I mean, right off, you'd be able to do this havening, and to be able to make him feel secure and safe, because that can right then there, be that moment where he does feel
Mm.
safe, and does get into a place of calm just immediately. And it would be fun to come up with an affirmation, based upon knowing what his strengths are. I am, and it sounds like he is very intelligent. I am compassionate, and I am safe. And
We
that's
do well
first.
wishing.
What's
We do
that?
we do well wishing, like may you be well, may you be safe, may
It's
you. Mhm.
It's for others, yes. And that, like, that is one of the most empowering things to do, is to be able to put back into the world, to know that you are a positive force. Like, you are creating that positive energy, right? But then, you have to deal with, well, what are the actual worries? What are the things that he thinks is actually going to happen? And this is where sometimes we'll do for kids what's called a worry box, right? Where he makes his own box, and he actually designs it, and every day he can write down what his worry is, whatever it might be, right? But the promise there is that once you write down your worry in your little card and you fold it up and you put it into your box, that then you let it go. Because the idea around it is that we can't be these great positive energetic contributors to our society when we're bogged down in worrying about what's in our box, right? Because we want to get back to the present moment so that we can continue to contribute positivity. And if we forget about that, right, that's where the havening can come back in, and we can have those affirmations always to calm us down. But ideally, we want to come back to that box once a week. You can pick a night, maybe it's Friday night, open up the box, go through every single card, and let's see what really happened. Because I can bet you 9 times out of 10, none of those worries ever came true. And the best moment is throwing away those cards and knowing you are safe, and knowing it's true, and knowing that your priority is to still contribute positive energy to the world, because he is a positive soul. And I love how you're raising him. So bravo. I love it. That's awesome.
And I'd read about the worry box, but I read about just putting the things in the box, but
Right.
not about taking them out and recognizing
Right.
and acknowledge that they didn't happen and
And
then getting rid of them.
it's
So
so, it's so
that's where it
liberating. Yeah, it's it's a very liberating, and it's kind of a big aha moment where like so many children who are so sensitive, they have so many worries, and it's because they're so sensitive, and that's what's beautiful around them. And so many parents will say, well, stop being so sensitive and don't take it all so hard. When we say stop being that way and close yourself off, those kids, they shut down. That's where they become hardened. That's where we as a society learned to push down our negative emotions and ignore them and know that we're supposed to be strong. And that's where we turn to alcohol, and we turn to smoking, and we turn to food, and we don't talk about the negative emotions. We can't even hardly name more than 6 of them. So that's where, again, I brought up the workshop, because you've got to know the real meaning of emotional intelligence, and that's being able to be intelligent about your own emotions. Another question I think I see in the chat, 2 questions maybe. Is it different for someone suffering with mental health challenges? I don't know if we addressed this. If this was around the havening, they can definitely do the havening, absolutely. And I'll tell you this, what really empowered my brother, and then another person that I've been coaching who is schizophrenic as well as bipolar. We go through a lot of these different exercises, and for a long time, what I noticed is, for me, the definition of mental illness is it's just going to take them a heck of a lot longer for them to be able to notice that they're spiraling down because of a thought, right? So they might spiral down way longer. Let's say sometimes, for weeks or months, right? We can be the watcher of the thoughts and be able to make that kind of judgment call in real time, right? We can get that good. We can rewire our brains and become so much so the watcher of our thoughts that in real time we could spiral back up and we could choose the thoughts that serve. We can be empowered like that. It's going to take them longer to do that. That said, the more they do it, the quicker they start to realize, hey, I don't need to be in bed until noon every day because I feel anxiety and depression. I can actually notice this in the morning and make a plan around it, knowing that this is my default every morning, right? Because now I can get back 3 hours every day. And I used to ask my brother, do you want to not get better until noon every day? Because usually at around noon every day you get better, or do you want to get better in the morning by noticing that these are just patterns that happen? Let's circumvent it. Let's get past it by planning out our day the night before. So we have exercises where the night before he will write down, well, what are the 3 things that I'm excited to accomplish? And when he gets up in the morning, he knows these are my 3 things that I'm doing. There's no guessing around it. I know that I get up, I do breathing exercises, and then I go right into my 3 things. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to have anxiety around it. I don't need to call my mom to know what to do next. This is what I do. At night, he recognizes what of those 3 things that I accomplished, what was good about my day. He writes down the 5 or 6 things that were great, because usually great things happen. How did I contribute to it? What strengths did I use to contribute to that? Because at night, and I used to do this too, I would go to bed picking the one bad thing that happened, and then I would stay up almost all night hating myself. How about, and this is rewiring the brain, we're creating new neural pathways for positivity. A positively biased brain relives over and over again positive moments. What were the things that I'm grateful for? What were the good interactions that I had with other people? How did I contribute to that? What strengths of mine did I use? That's what I think about over and over again when I'm falling asleep. And then I bookend the night into the day, because in the morning, I know I'm excited to get out of bed, right? Because I got 3 things I'm excited to do instead of waking up and being overwhelmed and not wanting to get out of bed. So I know that was a long answer, but yes, this is for folks that are mentally ill as well.
I don't think it's different for people with mental illness.
Yeah.
It's according. I mean, if a person is, in the throes of psychosis, that's a different story, because then the brain is in a different reality, I think. But they're still anxious.
Yes.
And they're still worried. So if you can take that part away, even if that psychosis stays and they start to understand the psychosis as what it is, it's my brain is saying this, but it's really not true.
And it's just that it's almost becoming scientific about it, where it can become highly fascinating when you're the watcher of it. Oh, it's that again. Oh, thank you, brain. Thank you. Actually,
Thank you,
brain,
brain.
the brain is back. It thinks it's trying to protect me. It's always the protective part of the brain that's
Right.
doing the worrying. I see what you're saying. I got this. And it's a very empowering moment to know that they do. They do have it. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take until you notice that.
So a
A
question.
lot. Oh,
So I'm sorry. For the caregiver,
right.
how would you I guess tell them how to try these different exercises? And so when they're feeling stressed about, for example, I don't have enough time to take care of
My
myself
mom.
because I have too much
Yeah.
time to do this. I don't have time for this because I have to
Look, you froze. We all freeze? No.
No.
No. Alana,
Oh, it's something, right? I know the answer, but I have to let him finish asking.
you're frozen, Jeff.
Oh,
you have to unfreeze.
so what I'm gonna do is I'll run you through really quickly, like the workshop itself, so you can see, because the answer is within that, if that makes sense. Okay. Is she unfrozen? I can't tell. As we saw already.
I know it came back on.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I was gonna say is that I can run you through the actual. I don't know why this did that. I can run you through the coursework itself to kind of answer that question, and because I think we're mostly just getting overwhelmed, right? When we're feeling like there's not enough hours in the day to take care of everyone, including ourselves. I think that that's like a really common issue for everybody. And I go through it, and of course it's learning how to be able to organize the day, and it's learning also how to not overcommit, but it's also having faith in the fact that everything always does get done, and it's the worrying about whether or not it will get done, which is the thing that'll really take you down. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get into just like what it is that we do for each week, and then if this sounds like something that you guys might be interested in, we can talk more about setting it up for you. Does that sound good?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
How long is this little it's gonna take a little bit?
Right, because you just have a half hour.
No,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
good. I don't have to worry
Oh,
about
you
that.
good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Good.
I just want to, yeah, because I know I have a couple of people on the talk that we're giving the awards to, and the ones
Yes.
who have
Okay,
nominated. So we can do the nomination conversation first, and then we can come back to the
okay,
question.
that's good.
Does that sound? All right. So Michelle, she's on the call now. Okay. So I know she said she was gonna be on a call. Okay, so the second person that was nominated for the Caregivers Award is dun, 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 it is Tracy Atkins Elabita. And Tracy, Tracy is a valued member of our community, and she is very valuable to our board on Missy as well. I do admire her dedication to education and the community, and most of all, her mom. Um, Tracy inspires me to look at the mother-daughter relationship, and Tracy makes me she makes me proud, to see a daughter taking care of her mom, and just the loving relationship that she has with her mom, and even her son with her mom. It just makes my heart feel really well. And so it is my honor, Tracy, to present you with our and recognize you for a caregiver of
Thank
the
you,
month.
Sister Sophia.
Oh,
Let me see if
Thank
I
you so much.
can your award here. Hold on.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go
Aw.
backwards.
Oh, these are all the,
Yeah, these are all. I put Tracy E,
Tracy.
but I'll finish it up. This is just a prototype. We will be sending you guys also a small caregivers basket as well for each one of the nominees. So in
Thank you so
recognition as
much.
a caregiver who exemplifies dedication to her mom and caring for a family. Congratulations, Tracy.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. So next one, let me see, is Michelle available? I know she wanted to go a little bit ahead of time. Angelina, is Sarah on the call? Sarah? Okay, Sarah's not on the call yet. All right. What about Jamila LaSalle? Where did she go? I know they're here.
Hmm.
I'm looking to see.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Jamila LaSalle. Jamila LaSalle nominated Miss FNG, Miss Anthony, as
Yeah,
for this
yeah.
award. Could you tell us a little bit of reason why you nominated Miss
I chose
Anthony?
Miss Ethidge. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Jamila LaSalle. I'm the co-founder to BJ House of Community. And when I saw this post on Missy's Facebook, I automatically thought of one of my clients who has went above and beyond her call of duty to help and assist a disabled patient that she worked with. So much that she even went and took and moved in with this individual until his passing. And she's just an elderly woman who was a warm heart. And despite her age, she is still. I mean, she can put a lot of us to shame with the way, the amount of time that she can walk, and she's so agile, and she's close to 80 years old and still was working to take care of this young individual who was physically disabled with cerebral palsy. And then of course he passed. She had a real rough life. She's really a descendant from India, and lost everything in India and came to America, and came through one of my programs, Richmond Senior Services, where I assist seniors. And it was through that program that I learned much about her, and established a connection and relationship with her. And she would just take the time out to feed this individual, and make sure that he was well fed and kept before he would leave. And if the other person went and relieved this individual, she would actually stay there, stay in the house, stay over until he was well kept. She had a fondness for him, because she always indicated that he reminded her of her son who passed away. So there was a connection there. And again, when I saw the post from Missy, I just automatically thought of her in regards to this award.
So thank you, Jamila, for those wonderful words. And this exemplary caregiver award does go to Miss Anthony in recognition as a caregiver with exemplified strength and dedication to a mother while placing her mother's needs above herself.
Thank you, thank you. She didn't even know how to get on. We were having a hard time. We were having a hard time. That's why it was taking me so long. We were having a hard time trying to get to her. But I will definitely convey this, and I'll have her directly call Safi. Well, Safi actually has her number, and she can,
Yes,
yeah, she was
yes,
trying.
thank you
She
so
was
much.
getting frantic. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to continue to share my screen. Give me 1 second. I was hoping Michelle would come back on, but I think she's still on her, I think she's still on her other call. Let me see who else is here. Nairi? Where did Nairi go? I just saw her. Nairi?
Assalamualaikum, I'm here.
Okay, great. Hold on a second. Let me get
Waalaikumsalam.
back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, because my connection is going on and off. I actually had to move to another room. Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you for nominating Miss Margarita. She's been with my mom several years, And she's amazing. She's an amazing woman who's taking care of my mom, who is very precious to me. Alhamdulillah, I'm just grateful that there's someone there that can really help her in terms of she goes shopping with her. And, and she's also a really great friend. She's there for her in her time of need. And I'm just grateful that she's been such an important part of my mom's life.
And I'm sure it's given you comfort as the daughter to know that there's someone there, to be able to help your mom when you're not able to.
Complete
Because-
comfort. And not only that, just someone to confide in. The fact that she had someone that she can trust. It's really hard, as someone who's when you choose a caregiver, if it's not family, you're always concerned with how the person is going to treat your mom. So this was something that really gave me comfort as well, just meeting her and know the wonderful person that she was. So I just knew that she was well deserved of this nomination.
Yes, and we actually knew that she spoke Spanish, so we did the Spanish translation of the recognition of a caregiver, nurturing, caring, and exemplifying and dedication to Miss Margaret Valentin.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your nominating her. Let me see. I have next is Yolanda Smith is the next person that was nominated. So Cheyenne, could you please give us the honors?
Yes, so Yolanda is my aunt. So this is my mom's younger sister. So she's been taking care of my grandmother. So this is both my mom and my aunt's mom, who actually had a surgery just before New York got shut down with COVID, and unfortunately had COVID due to the overwhelming influx of patients in the hospital, had to deal with patient neglect, and also is a woman with schizophrenia. So she's dealing with a lot while being the head of the household and trying to make sure that she has like a healthcare aide or just needs to be there for appointments. Just she's taking care of so much. So much is on her shoulders, and she's pretty much muscling this, even with the help of myself and other relatives, but she's pretty much having everything on lockdown on her own, which is remarkable. And I see that she's not on, but I'm probably most likely going to tell her later that, again, I'm proud of her.
That's okay. We'll have it on video so she can watch it. Thank you so much. So the exemplary caregiver award is going to Yolanda Smith in recognition as a caregiver who exemplifies strength and dedication to her mother while placing her mother's needs above herself. So thank you, Yolanda, for being a wonderful caregiver. Okay, so next one is, let me see. And Angela Rani, is Sarah on? Okay, so maybe she's not on, but I will see if my, let me go back a little bit. Okay, so this person was nominated from one of the PS68 school family member who wanted us to nominate Angela Rani in recognition as a caregiver who exemplifies dedication and guardian for her grandchildren. So this person from the submission of this nomination was not only was she taking care of her grandchildren, she was also taking care of her sick brother. And her grandchildren, she actually wound up being the guardian of her grandchildren. So the grandchildren lives with her. And then she also has to take care of her sick brother. And with all this that's going on, with being a grandparent, and you know how difficult it has been with trying to get acclimated to social media or even any type of media, was a challenge for a lot of people. So, my hats off to Miss Angela, and this exemplary caregiver award will definitely be sent with you. I will contact Sarah to make sure that you receive your award and your gift bag. Okay. And where's Miss Molina? Michelle. Michelle. I don't think she sees us. Anyway, Michelle Molina. Oh boy, Michelle Molina. I actually nominated Michelle Molina for this award because I've known Michelle for a couple years now, and she's just always on the go. And she also has a lot of challenges, as many of us do, but she does have a couple of additional challenges because her mom is now, who's living with her now, is not doing well. And besides Michelle being the executive director for El Centro, which is a task within itself, which dealing with other people and trying to take care of their needs as well. She has to make sure that her mom is safe and going to appointments and taking care of her mom. And she also has a child who has autism as well, and a caveat of things. And sometimes I don't even know how she sleeps because she's just all over, just being sure that everyone is being taken care of. But, she, like I tell her, she has to take care of herself as well, and she tries her best to be, the best person she can be. And I'm very honored to be a friend of hers, and I'm very honored to give her the exemplary caregivers award. So I know Michelle now, she's probably doesn't even realize she's getting her award and she's online.
She's still talking.
She's talking. But yeah, she's one of the most wonderful people in our community that we can go to. And so given, it's so important for us to support each other, especially now, because sometimes, like we talked about earlier in the program, we forget ourselves because we're so busy trying to fix everything, make sure everybody has their needs. But sometimes we forget that we have needs as well. We got to take the cape off sometimes, guys.
The Wonder Woman
take
cape.
the cape off. Yeah. I wonder where the woman is.
The Wonder Woman cape.
Absolutely. So, I mean, and it is so important for us to continue to support each other, even just to call someone, like Lana was saying, having that support, like how she was with her brother. Even you call someone, say, you know what, I'm feeling a little stressed today. Let's talk. Do something, because that 5 minutes can be so precious. You ever seen the shows where the mom wants 5 minutes to herself, so she locks herself in the bathroom, right? And the kids are outside of the door going, "Mom, mom, mom!" Like, because you really need that time to yourself sometimes, just the wusa. Or even that commercial with, I think it was a car commercial or something. The woman comes home in a nice car. She goes in the house and the house is chaos, right? What does she do?
Right.
Walks back out the door. She sits in the car. She leans back. That was her moment.
Exactly.
So those are the things that I truly enjoy. but we have to, practice what we preach, right?
Right. And caregivers also need to be kind to themselves.
Absolutely.
And you have to choose that. You can choose not to be kind to yourself, and you can choose to be kind to yourself. And you can choose to say, not that I can't, but I won't at a certain time. To give yourself that power to make the decision that right now I won't do this. Not that I can't do it, because you probably can. We can all do 12,000 things at one time, but I
That's
won't.
called burnout.
Now I'm going to take care of myself.
That's burnout time. You'd be like,
Burnout
what?
time.
I'm gonna just do it. I'll just do it, and then you're done, and you're like, well, why
Right.
did I
I'm
do
going to
that
keep doing this
to
and keep
myself?
doing that and keep doing that.
So the workshop itself, I just want everyone to know, is for the caregivers. But when you start living that way, you'll see that your loved ones kind of get, like I said earlier, curious about how you're living that way. So it bleeds in energetically and into the rest of your family, which is great. I know I said I'd go through the agenda, but I feel like right now maybe we'll do the meditation. If you guys, yeah, because everyone keeps talking about, well, what can we do for ourselves? Kind of
Right. Let's do something
all the time, in real time without having to even go anywhere. And the answer is always within us. And I found this out just a few weeks ago, and I couldn't get over this. The heart actually has 40,000 neurons in it. I don't know if anyone else knows this, but the heart actually is a brain. It has a brain, and that brain sends more signals to our brain than vice versa. So these are like very, very like new studies that only recently came out that shows that we can actually speak to our brain using our heart, and we can do it all the time. And the reason why the heart has such a strong kind of direct connection to the brain, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the vagus nerve, but the vagus nerve is the thickest nerve. It's the largest bundle of nerves in the body, whereas the brain only has the spinal cord, which can't compete. So if we can access the heart, which we can do at any time, we can immediately send a message of calm to the brain. And then the last part before I do the meditation, because this only takes 3 minutes a day, which is amazing. When you send a message of calm using your heart, your brain, that sends a message of self-love as well as self-healing. And the brain automatically turns on, this is amazing and so good for COVID, 1,300 different chemical reactions that are positive, boosting immunity, anti-aging, super learning, concentration, cardiovascular health. So this is something that we can do all the time. When we feel overwhelmed, we can go to the heart. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is this 3-minute meditation where we use our heart to calm our brains. And what you'll find is if you do this 3 minutes a day, you start to be able to get really good at thinking and feeling through your heart. Your life becomes heart-led, and you can do it with your eyes open, so that when you're in a place of overwhelm and you're running around too much and you've done too much, you can go to your heart at any time and you can calm down immediately. You can get present, you can get thankful. And what I'm going to do now is just ask you to have a nice seat, put your feet down. You can go ahead, close your eyes if it feels comfortable for you, and breathe in deeply, breathe in all the way down to your belly and fill up your belly all the way up. And then let out a really nice cleansing breath. And you can go ahead and you can take your hand and place it on your heart, because I find it's really easy to focus on your heart when your hand is on your heart. And now on your own, let's make every in-breath 5 seconds long and every out-breath 5 seconds long. And we'll do this for a few breaths. And when you breathe this way, you send a message of calm to the brain. You tell the brain, right now, we're going to be going within. And as you do this, you can start to feel what it's like to actually breathe through your heart as it swells with every in-breath and it contracts with every out. Keep breathing through your heart. And now we can choose a positive emotion. I'm going to choose gratitude because that's what I feel for being here right now. And right now, I'll invite you to feel what it's like to feel gratitude through your heart. Keep thinking of gratitude through your heart as you breathe through your heart slowly. Continue to breathe slowly. The feeling of gratitude warms your heart, and it warms your entire body. And you can feel it relax every part of your body, every cell. And when you're ready, I'll invite you to bring your awareness back to the space in your room, remembering that your heart is the most powerful part of your body. And you can take this feeling with you, and you can use it anytime, anywhere, with anyone. It's more fun than going through every week of the workshop, right? I could always send it to you. How'd it feel? You guys felt relaxed from that? Felt it in your heart?
Very tingly.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that. That happens. I love that you said that. That happened to me the first time. My whole body felt that. And I found myself doing it. Like, even if I was downstairs in the kitchen, I was like, I'm just gonna go to my heart. No one could stop me. Like, I'm just going to my heart. So I'll send you guys, I just wrote an article on this, and it has the directions in there. And I promise if you do this every day, just for 3 minutes a day, it will change your life, and it'll boost your immunity too, which is something we all want right now.
Absolutely.
And the anti-aging.
That'll work. Are you still going to share with us the
Yeah, I can share. I'll still share. Yes, and I see someone saying it took me a minute. Yeah, it does, because you know what, we're a very brain focused society. So there's a lot of societies that teach you to think with your heart first and then your brain, but we are so the opposite of that's why I had to always put my hand on my heart, because it's hard for me to get there sometimes too. If you do it alone and you do it to music and really carve out a few moments just to sit there, it does get much easier, and it becomes a way of living. Like rewiring your brain, you know, we have the ability to do these things. It's just the awareness around actually doing it and making it happen. All right, so now I'll show you really quickly, if we still have time, the course overview. So we do for 5 weeks. We'll first do an initial assessment. You guys are seeing this here? You're seeing the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. All right. So first we want to find out, what is your happiness scale? And we do this to really understand where you are at the beginning of 5 weeks. And then we do it over again at the end of 5 weeks to see how the bar has shifted for you. And then we also want to assess how emotionally intelligent you are right now versus how emotionally intelligent you will grow to be by the end of 5 weeks. And I can tell you that shift is the largest. So in week 1, we want to establish awareness specifically around the mind-body connection, how the body is a messenger for emotions. We're going to dive deeply into identifying emotion, being able to live within acceptance, giving us ourselves permission to be human, and then start right in week 1 developing that gratitude practice that I told you about, where we do have a journal and we do go to bed thinking about the good things that happens, because that is what creates new neural pathways for positivity, creating a more positively biased brain. Then we do a sensory lab like the one that I just did with you right now. How do we create calm in real time using our bodies to calm our minds? So that's in week 1. Week 2, we work with the past, which we know past judgments can turn into depression. So we want to understand, how can we actually disrupt those judgments? And this is really, again, all for the caretaker to be living in a way that sets the example for a loved one potentially, and also changes the way that you even interact with your loved one. Because you can even at some point be able to do this with your loved one once you've mastered it yourself. You can start to say, where's the evidence for the judgment? How do I instead want to show up? How do I want to feel? And if I know that I'm perfectly imperfect, I could recognize my self-worth. I can start to bring forth my true, authentic self, and I can get past any of the trauma that I've ever lived through and create a new future. So if I know what my strengths are, I can take those strengths and I can actually manifest through visualization a new future that I want to be able to create, knowing the way that I want it to be. Then we go into, well, what do I want out of that future? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What is my meaning? Then we do another sensory lab where we're doing tapping, which is another way to get rid of anxiety using the body, which I love. Week 4, we're going to get really good at practicing real-time resilience. We in real time are going to learn how to do that schematic from bottom to top immediately. We're going to be able to choose the present moment where we can actually expand upon a positive part of ourselves. We can choose a positive emotion that we want to live in instead, that feels better. We're going to get better at creating emotion that connects within our really our loved ones, so that we can have a better level of empathy within that relationship. Then we're going to start to define, what does it really mean to serve others? How does it benefit me? And how can I do it in a way that's really healthy? And then we do another sensory lab, which is called drumming out emotion. And it is drumming, and that's all I'm going to say about that. It's hysterical. Then we talk about, well, how do I create the best environment for my brain? How do I make sure I'm not making too many decisions? I'm not committing to too many things. That's what ego depletion means. How do I make sure that I'm resting my brain enough, that I'm minimizing technology, and that I'm moving my body enough? Am I eating the right foods for my brain? And then we do those final assessments. We like to see, where am I for that scale of happiness, and how emotionally intelligent am I now? So that's the whole course. Someone asked me if it's rolling. I can tell you that it's not rolling. We haven't started it yet. Linda, I'm not sure exactly when we're going to start it, probably like in a month or so, but we can get back to these folks and let them know.
We'll have it
A
as a
fee?
NAMI event, and Yolanda said, it's at no cost to our NAMI members, so you can hook up, and you just send me your emails to linda@namistatenisland.org, and I will be happy to send you the information when there's Jack.
Hi, Jack.
He came home from work. Hello. So I'll be happy to send you the information, and hopefully you can get your members to log in and be able to take this really, I think, really very valuable course.
Absolutely.
And
I will definitely promote it. That's for sure.
good.
Yes.
Thank you. I
Now-
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And would it be good for like teenagers who are going through different stressors?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is
Yeah.
it good for kids, or
Yeah.
does it have to be? Do you modify anything for
Yeah.
kids?
I actually have a version that's just for kids, and I'm really cool when I deliver it too.
And what do you mean by kids? How old?
So I can do, really, it's any age at all. I mean, I wouldn't put all ages together,
Right,
like
right. You don't want to.
grade school, right? Any ages. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I can modify it for any population.
Okay.
So also, Linda, for the non-NAMI members, how much is the cost for that?
No, you don't have. We're a membership organization. I think the basic membership is $40, but you do not. We charge for nothing at NAMI.
Mhm.
So if you don't want to join, you can still get all of our benefits. But joining is good, because then you become part of the community, and
Absolutely.
you become part of the NAMI community, which is really, really large. We do advocacy on a local and a national level. And that's very, very important, especially in these days. We're all vying for
Yes.
dollars all over the place.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
right. So our membership will
The
know
more
that
you
better.
have, the more powerful you are.
Right. The more powerful we are.
Got you.
Yeah, but
And
just send me your
we've been working with
emails and
NAMI
I
for
will
a minute
add
now,
you to our
so
email list and then,
absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
So
Thank
the
you.
name of the
Letting them be a
course,
part of this.
what was the name of the course again, Lana?
Oh, so this is COVID resiliency workshop.
Okay. And it's Reclaimed Mind, right?
Yeah, COVID resiliency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Very
A
nice.
beer.
hopefully,
A beer. Go ahead.
well, hopefully
Yeah.
we will get over this COVID.
I know.
Oh, God.
Another 6
Yeah.
months.
Oh,
We will. So
Guess
you
what?
guys, I'm going to share with you the article I just wrote on the meditation that we just did, so you can do it on your own, and then you can understand all of the benefits from being able to have your heart tell your brain to relax. It's called the gamma state, getting in the gamma state. And for anyone that's interested, I know a few people already said that they're interested in taking it. And thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be able to work with you guys to do this. Linda, is the best way for them to just email you directly, or?
Me directly, Linda at NAMI, N-A-M-I, Staten Island, spelled out.org.
Perfect.
Just with your email address and I will add you to our email list.
Okay. No problem. I'll get some people from my group and send you one email with everybody's email on it.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you for letting me do that meditation with you guys. I feel good.
Oh,
Thank you, Alana.
I am. I'm just jello right now. Yeah.
I also feel it. I'm like, I'm so relaxed.
Because I wasn't feeling so wonderful most of the day, and I was like, oh man, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
I know exactly that feeling. And that's the thing. We could do this. We could do it without going anywhere. So I'm glad that you all know about it now. It's wonderful.
So we had someone that joined us a little later, Abir, you here? Abir?
Yeah, sorry,
Yep.
I'm using my phone, so it's hard to find the mute button.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Abir, did you want to share anything with anyone? I know you've been going through some changes too with, being a caretaker for both your parents.
Yeah, I feel bad that I had missed the earlier part, so I don't want to say anything that maybe you guys already covered. But
It's okay.
yes, yeah, it's difficult because both parents now have COVID. My kids and I had COVID first, and then my brother and his wife and his kids got it, and then my parents got infected. So thankfully, I feel better enough to take care of them. But it was really hard. My father is hospitalized now, and my mom is home. So it's like you feel like you're torn in different directions because it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of worry, a lot of sacrifice on my part. I haven't worked in 3 weeks. So it's a lot going on, but that's just my story for now. That's just a little spotlight of what I'm going through at this time, but generally I care for both parents as well on a normal basis. But yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Lana was going over a couple of techniques that you can use, that all of us can use, whether we're going through COVID or not. Some relaxation techniques, which I think it'd be great. And I think I'll send you the video also so you can look at it again.
All right, thank you. And if
see
this is recorded,
remove some. It's
if
on
this is
Facebook,
recorded
so I'll
as well.
it.
Okay, I'll watch it again then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Can you cut my part out though? Because I didn't realize it was being recorded.
It's fine. Listen, you didn't say any, you didn't give us any secrets, so it's all good. But what we were talking about earlier in the program is that how important it is as women to help support each other through these trials and these struggles. because we seldom, sometimes we think that we're alone in the
Right.
struggle, and
Right.
clearly we're not.
Right.
And sometimes we internalize our struggles, and we internalize our feelings, and it manifests in so many negative ways. Like Alana was saying earlier, that how these types of internalizing things can cause a lot of damage to the body, right? It could put you in depression, it could put you have anxiety, stomach problems, a myriad of things that can affect our health, both physically and mentally. And so I think it's important, if we don't take anything else away from this workshop, is that we need to recognize those things, and utilize the resources that we have to minimize the damage that not being able to address certain things can cause.
Yeah, and for that, first, I'm proud of you. You really were paying attention.
I try.
But it's so true, and we're afraid to actually feel our feelings, just because we said so much earlier how we're so oftentimes told just not to feel them, and we should be strong and we should power up, and it can turn into chronic illness, and it can turn into anxiety and depression, and especially when we're stuck at home. But it's interesting, because just like when you write down a worry on a piece of paper and you put it in a box, how all of a sudden you're like, oh, I kind of like don't really feel that worry anymore. When you are able to pull up those emotions and allow yourselves to feel those emotions, they don't last very long either. You can actually flow them through your body. You can exercise them out, and then you're able to rationally deal with any of the thoughts behind them. It's just when we don't allow ourselves to feel them that they stay in us, and they stay in us for a very long time. So this is why we're delivering the workshop to you now, just to be able to give you the tools to notice and name and navigate through it.
So does anybody else have any tidbits? We're going to finish up because we're after 7, but it was definitely worth the time, that's for sure. And Alana, you were totally awesome. You got me all geared up now. I'm ready for the next class.
I'll call you tomorrow, do another meditation. Me and you.
Okay.
This was great.
We'll do chain meditation. Oh, okay, you call this It's time to meditate.
Yeah. Oh, we might as well, right? Might as well just all meditate all the time, right? We're all home, so.
Absolutely.
Thank
We're
you.
in the same boat.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for, this is wonderful. You really
Yes, thank you
have
so much for
inspired me
having
too
us.
to think about so many things now.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Yes, but I will do it in moderation.
Exactly.
At least I got to tell myself that.
Right. Thank you, though.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful 3-day weekend off. I know it's going to go very quickly. 3 days.
Everybody.
Yes. And thank you so much. Alana, I'll definitely be in touch. And Linda, once again, thank you so much for your wonderful support. And I just love you, girl.
Thank you. I'm glad to be part of all this.
Yes, this is great, because the mind impacts the body, right? So
Yes.
whatever happens to the body is gonna definitely impact the mind. So and so we have to always try to find different ways to balance the two.
Okay.
And so I'm grateful to be able to do that.
Okay, so thank you.
Lovely lady. Have a good night, and have a wonderful week.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Alana.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Alana.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.